This season for the Chicago Bulls has been one. And now we are in the realm of trade rumors. And what should we expect for the Chicago Bulls? I got somebody joining with me today in the name of Alejandro. We're going to talk about Coby White and Ayo Dosunmu. What's the best approach to both guys? Then we're going to talk about the Dario Saric trade. And then we're going to talk about Billy Donovan. Is he the right man for the next iteration of the Chicago Bulls? I know he's pretty ticked off because I'm ticked off myself about talking about that last topic. But before we talk about it and break it all down, y'all know you got to hit the music first.
Cognac. Gang.
Shot Boys Podcast with the Cognac Boys. I'm Cognac Boy Bobby. And I got Alejandro in the building with me. So if you love talking Bulls basketball, even when they give you a headache, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. I got my man Alejandro joining me for today's episode. This is Alejandro, a.k.a. the local Bulls fan, a.k.a. a name given by me, Hondo. Hey, he's a writer for the guys over there on Bulls on Tap, and sometime you'll see him over there on the podcast side for the On Tap Sports Net. Alejandro, how you doing, bro?
I'm doing good. How about yourself, Bobby?
Doing good, brother. Thanks for joining me for this episode, man. Let the people know who you are, where you're coming from, and let's get right into it right after.
Alejandro, a.k.a. Local Bulls Fan. You can find me at Local Bulls Fan on Twitter, as well as you can find me on the On Tap Sports Net website. Just look up Alejandro Delgado. See all my latest writing, and just keep up to date, as well as the podcast side on YouTube. And that's where I'll be.
You already know. But Alejandro, let's get right into the state of the Chicago Bulls. It's been a while since we talked. Yeah, we've been trying to put this thing together for some time now, but we haven't really talked about how you've been feeling about this season. The Chicago Bulls have now played, I believe, about 50 games up until this point. How you been taking in this season, bro? Because me personally, it's been a roller coaster ride. And at this point, I'm just ready to sell everybody except 3 people. But we'll talk about that. How you been feeling, bro?
I'm not going to lie. The past 20 games or so, I've crashed out watching. I just get they piss me off so much. Just the steam, the off, a lot of it doesn't come down to the players sometimes too. It comes down to Billy Donovan's steam. But then as just simple mistakes, if I have to, no disrespect to the legend, Stacey Kane, no disrespect. But if I have to hear about a post up with Vucevic again, I'm going to lose my mind. I can't do it. He's not efficient from there. And it's not entirely his fault the way the season's been going, but just it just infuriates me so much just because the way they want to play is contradicted to the way a post-up is. So that's why it infuriates me the most. Obviously, it's not his decision. And then I'll let this be out another rant. The entry, when you pass to the post, that is a simple pass. Everyone could do that. They've been doing that forever, but they're able to defend it at a higher level now since the game has evolved. So them trying to continuously go towards that when you don't have a Shaquille O'Neal or a Jokic or somebody strong enough or has enough ball control to do that, it creates just a bad offensive possession. So I just lose my mind seeing that. I go crazy. What about you, Bobby?
I'm with you 100%, brother. Hey, I don't know if it was the Saturday. No, Saturday I was out. It was the Thursday night game. Vooch receives he receives the pass in the post. He couldn't back down Norman Powell. So I understand exactly where you're coming from, bro. So yeah, man, it's definitely been one of those stages to where you look at the season and you just be like, all right, guys, I get it. We don't want to be mid. But I've been saying for the last few weeks, it's okay to take 2 steps back, to take 3 steps forward. And I think that's the way that we need to go. But dealing with who we're dealing with, We know it's probably not even going to happen. So, as Bulls fans, hey, Alejandro, I got a good solution. You tell me if it's crazy or not. Let's just rally up Bulls Nation, set a date to go to the UC, and for the entire game, we don't care if the Bulls winning by 10. We all just chant fire everyone. You think it'll work?
You know, I don't. It'll do something. I don't know if it'll work.
Right.
Just because it involves Jerry Reinsdorf doing something work related, and at this point, him and Michael are probably at Top Golf all day. I
Understood.
doubt yeah.
Understood. But hey, man, a lot of different things and rumors coming up. We even receive AI reporting on Twitter from people that you like. Hold on, who is this guy? And the number one thing that I've been looking at as of recently, at least for how I feel about it, the Bulls situation when it comes to these trade talks, I'm looking at Nikola Vucevic and I'm like, bro, I don't think the Bulls are going to get anything from it. I came into the season like, just buy him out. Some people gave me pushback. I'm like, bro, we have no more options. But I want us to focus on Ayo Dosunmu and Coby White being in trade talks. What approach do you think the Chicago Bulls should have when it comes to going through different trade packages for both players?
I think they have to look at both, willing to trade both of them. I think my biggest gripe, aside from me being biased towards the fellow Illini and Ayo, is that he's what seems like he keeps the locker room together, whether you see it or not through his vlogs. It just seems like everyone just gravitates towards him. He has a pulse on everything. And I know at the end of the day, it's just a business and they have stuff to do their jobs. And how valuable is that when your team is getting blown out by 50? But at the same time, like, there needs to be some type of foundation. So I see more hesitancy with that. But being able to approach it, I think they both have they have to look at trading them both because they're up for big paydays. I could see them both commanding over 20 million a season, and like, why would you fall into that trap if they're not going to get you anywhere? I'm leaning towards more trading Coby because the buckets is what gets you paid. I don't want to fall into a Zach LaVine situation again where you're forced to pay him then flip him. He will probably flourish on another team that signs him, that re-signs him, but at this point, that'll be all right if you could get yourself into the draft again, maybe a little bit at the top 7 lottery standings.
I understand that, and I agree with that wholeheartedly too, man. Is it? I don't know. I need you to tell me if I'm crazy. I have 3 untouchable pieces right now. That's Josh Giddey, Matis, and Ayo Dosunmu. And at first I had Ayo Dosunmu mentioned as an honorable. I had him listed as an honorable mention. But I just think that when you have a winning player like that, who can come in and play the point guard, who can come in and be off ball, who can go in and push pace the way that you need it to do, most of the time it's making a smart basketball plays, a good defender, not elite, but good enough defender. I have him listed as the top 3 untouchables, but that's just me. And I know the reality is he's probably not listed as untouchable, but am I crazy for believing that?
No, I don't think so. When you look at in depth of the team, I do think they need to do something to counteract that. If you want to hold on to Ayo, who's playing at a super high level, who's commanding the most out of every Bulls player around the league, I think you have to look into trading maybe a Jalen Smith or a Trey Jones or even a Toro. If it's a give and take. You can't just hold on to something and then not be able to counteract that because you remove Coby and he's not going to command much on the market.
Yeah,
compared to Ayo at this point. So then how do you make up for that draft capital?
Yeah.
Or young player who's forgotten about on his team?
Ugh. And that's a tough one too, because like I had this mindset that Coby White was a guy who has overcame a lot of obstacles that we placed on him. He was a starter when he came in, then moved to the bench, and then was playing point guard. Not great, but okay. And then he goes out there and play at a high level to where he's getting players of the week, players of the month, and stuff like that. But just for clarification, you said that not for clarification, but in this situation to where you have to make a decision between Ayo and Coby specifically, if you was the decision maker, would you simply just go with the biggest offer that either guy can bring in for the team, or would you just be diligent with the trade selection with either guy?
This is a tough one.
That's why I brought it to you, brother. We trying to talk this
Yeah.
whole thing out because you could go with the bigger option, and I think I'm gonna agree with you. I think Ayo Dosunmu can bring in so much more. That's just my personal opinion. But if I'm making a decision, I'm like, I want to hold on to Ayo Dosunmu, as I already made clear.
I could see that because I'm of the mindset that everybody's tradable at this point. I'm hesitant with Modest, but I'm kind of over everything. I'm up.
Mhm.
Everyone has a price tag, but if you want to start somewhere and try to build towards something, I think Io would be the kind of guy you keep. He's clearly learned from. I don't know if you ever saw the interview he did with it was him, Giddy, and Modest. They're in JJ Reddit's old podcast. I can't believe I'm
Mm.
forgetting. I'm blanking on the name.
Is it Old
But he
Man in the
was
Three? That's what they call it, right?
yes,
Mhm.
yeah. He was very introspective about the way the league works and the way what it takes to win. And it's hard to build those winning habits.
Mm,
Like the Pistons have turned it around from being a dog shit organization,
bro.
but that's rare when it happens at that level. Like you've seen the Sixers try to do it, and now they still haven't made an Eastern Conference Finals in that Embiid era.
Yeah.
Not to say it's like they shouldn't tank, they shouldn't like go for high picks, but you need to have like some. You can't get into losing habits because then that's when you get. I hate to say this too. You get into a Zach LaVine era. You get a Zach LaVine kind of player.
Mm,
So it's crucial that they need to have a game plan. The problem is Artur's trying to solve is refuses to look ahead. Like how I said, if you want to keep Io, that's fine, but then you have to look at, all right, let's see, can we move a Coral? Can we move a Jalen Smith or a Trey Jones? Bring back something to balance out that value because it feels like Giddy might be out for the whole season, for the rest of the season with the way the injury is looking.
oh my God, I didn't even, bro. It's some Bulls training staff. It stink, bro. Stink. Every time we believe someone is coming back earlier, they get put out there on the basketball court and then they're back out for a while. And that's not good, bro. That's not good.
No, that's what you want to keep him, that's fine. But you gotta get a little worse.
Yeah.
Keep Giddy out. He's clearly not healthy. Keep him out. Try to get a good pick, a good decent pick. Whether you want, I don't think this class has that many big men. I haven't looked into it that much, but still, taking a little 3 steps back can move you 2 steps forward, and you can maybe jump ahead against the Heat for once.
For once, bro. The entire series, the entire 3-game series versus the Miami Heat, they were constantly putting up the last 3 years of the play-in. And I'm tired of going to the play-in at this point, Alejandro.
Me too. Oh my gosh, me too.
But man, while we're talking about the building out structurally and talking about our tourists, what are your thoughts on the Dario Saric trade? When the Bulls, they went out there and they acquired Saric, and then they also garnered 2 second-round picks. What was your thoughts when that came late night? Like, hold on, the Bulls did what? They got involved with who? I was like, oh shit, this is actually a decent move. Finally.
On the Arturas Chronosovis grading curve, that is a home run. But on the planet you and I live on, that is what we call not even a layup. That is a free throw. That is a free throw he finally made. Yeah, that's the type of deal you should be involved in. Those are the type of moves you want to keep building on. You don't have the OKC, Russell Westbrook, Paul George type of players you'd give away and get a whole bunch back.
Yeah.
You're going to have to find a way to be important in those conversations, whether it's 2 second rounds, 1 second round, a fake first round. You need to acquire those. You don't want to just be, okay, we have all of our own picks. That's good enough.
Yeah,
you need to excel at something. You need to be better than the Nets team at something if you want to actually build a contending team, not just All right, we're here playing. We're back. We're here. This is us.
Yeah, me personally, this year I'd rather miss the play-in than to win one play-in game, then see Eric Spoelstra cook Billy Donovan for the 10th time in a row. Like, bro, like I can't keep like I get it. The game on Saturday, I was like, hello, these guys are hooping. But then they came into the Sunday's game like, oh, y'all got y'all one, but we about to come punch y'all in the face. And what are y'all gonna do about it? And yeah. Them guys are trying to run it up to 60, bro.
Spoelstra sat up in his chair. Like, okay, let me lock in this lineup with Patrick Williams at the center. That threw me off. I'm playing games.
Yeah.
Let me remind Billy Donovan who I am and who he is.
Hey, that was a master class, and they ended that pretty much in the first few minutes of the first quarter. They was like, "Yeah, we going home with this dub." But Alejandro, now where's your, I guess, confidence meter at when it comes to if more moves are on the way? Because you mentioned guys like a Coro. We seen certain reports saying that Jalen Smith, the Bulls might be considering holding on to him. And I'm like, why? It seems like his value is pretty good right now. But where's your confidence meter on a scale of 1 to 10 that more moves are on the way for the Chicago Bulls?
I think the question is how confident am I AK making a good move? Because I think there might be a move. I'll give it a 10. But is he going to make another good move? I doubt it because he doesn't look ahead. He doesn't. Another 2 trades I want to bring up, or 3. When the Raptors traded OG Anunoby and Pascal Siakam. In one of those trades, they prioritized players. In another one, they prioritized picks.
Okay.
They thought, that's a 2 for that. They really just put together a trade patch. Like, okay, this is what we're doing here. This is what we're doing here. To really just, this is what, like a collective of moves versus I want this one thing from you and that's it. I can't think ahead. I don't know how it's going to fit. And then another one I think about is the Spurs when they traded DeJounte Murray. All-star. They were like his triple-doubles were insane. He got hurt recently, so I don't want to say he's fallen off. But they moved off of him at the right time because they end up with Wemby now, and they still hold at. They have a lottery pick with Atlanta. That's what I mean. Is AK going to think that far ahead? Okay, we have a great. They could have built around DeJounte. Spurs fans wanted that.
Yeah,
but having to rip off the Band-Aid and do the hard move went in there. It helped them out. And I just don't know if AK is going to have the balls to do that.
I agree with that. Because you got to have some type of foresight, at least in my mind, because we could talk about the missing of the Andre Drummond trade that they could have pulled off with the 76ers for 2 second-round picks. You didn't take the deal, and guess what happened? He walks away, and what team does he go to? The 76ers, when he could have been there already, and you could have capitalized on that. And I remember before Zach LaVine was traded, like obviously you look at it now, you say, okay, Zach LaVine, Zach Collins, Kevin Huerter, et cetera, it looks good now. But what about that potential deal that could have came from the New York Knicks with Zach LaVine's value was much, much higher? So it's one of those things, and I agree with you, bro. My confidence is that, yeah, something will get done, but ultimately will the right moves get done? Because I always say as a GM, you have to have foresight in mind with building your team correctly. That's what you get paid for. Like, you have to be much better in evaluating your team and not falling in love with players that only keep you in mediocrity. You have to have some type of foresight and have some cojones to say, look, man, we might not make the play in this year, but these picks that's coming up in the draft, these players or this capital that we're going to have, this is going to be able to help us out moving forward. And I think I agree with you. I think AK, he got to have some type of foresight, bro. You got to be much better.
His business model isn't the worst. The best example I could give is the Knicks when they realize, hey, we're dog shit at drafting. Let me go get a Jalen Brunson. Let me go get a Julius Randle. I flip him for Cat later on. I get Mikal. Like, they accumulated all these picks and used them as currency.
Yeah.
For some reason, just because AK feels like he doesn't value that, because he's an arrogant jackass. He doesn't think that he's like, okay, no one else is going to value it. And when that's not the case, if everyone's telling you, hey, this matters to me, get it just because it matters to them. Who cares? Because then you can flip it down the line. You may not be able to draft someone, but if you could get you that mid player you want, so be it.
Right. Are you a fan of the Zion Williamson rumors?
At first, I wasn't, but then I thought about it. Look at Dyson Daniels. He left out. They have a lot of good players on the Pelicans. Like, people have talked about Trey Murphy as being an all-star, or Zion as a top 10 player, Herb Jones as a, all defensive caliber type player. But then Dyson, once he left, most improved player, accolades, big time payday. He might be having a down year this year, but he's still, he's still locking up. He's still a steals leader in the league.
Right.
So I'm like, why not? Why not? I mean, we have nothing to really lose. I don't know what New Orleans would want back.
Yeah. That's the only thing.
Exactly. What do you think what do you think we have to give up?
I honestly don't know, but I think it's gonna come in the form of draft capital because you remember they did that trade with the Atlanta Hawks, so I think it's gonna probably be a couple players or something like that. I know me and a couple people. We always like give him Nikola Vucevic. Sorry guys, nobody wants Nikola Vucevic.
I think you could give him Nikola Vucevic because he's expiring. The only value he has is that his contract's over.
Yeah.
So they just kick him to the curb.
Yeah.
I hate talking about him this way because he's still a person, and I don't think he's a bad guy.
Yeah.
But it pisses me off, just him, the player. The way the Bulls want to run the offense with him. Or just, But I'm thinking maybe because they did that stupid trade. I mean, their queen's turning out he could ball. But if, maybe Joe Dumars sees potential in Patrick Williams, maybe we have something.
I've been trying to get him out of here too, bro. I've been trying to trade P. Will forever. I ain't gonna lie to you.
He's the main one. I'm like, because his contract's not expiring.
Exactly.
He's one of the worst contracts in the league. I don't care what percentages of the cap. You're not, unless you have an abundant amount of draft capital, you have something over the rest of a leg up against majority of the league. You shouldn't be having that kind of contract.
I agree 100%, bro. And now it's time to talk about the main culprit of this. How you been feeling about Billy Donovan? How you feel about Billy Donovan right now, man?
I used to be a Billy Donovan defender. I used to give him, a little leeway. But then I saw Tibbs, and I got reminded, hey, Tibbs doesn't have a job right now. I can't stand Billy Donovan. I cannot. After I heard Buzelis say, yeah, take that, mid-range shot, throw it in the trash, I became livid watching our offense. Because there's times they have an open midi, and that's what you have to take. The shot's there, you take it. You're not, you don't have a top 10 player. You don't have the luxury of to not attempt an open shot for the sake of it being considered a bad shot by analytics. And this 7-game losing, someone needs to answer for it. Someone needs to answer for this losing streak. The times where they come out flat, I'm of the mind where you're paid millions of dollars to go play this sport. Do your damn job. A coach shouldn't be giving you a hoorah speech for you to put in effort. But if they're to the point where they're looking lost, where they're not looked prepared, then that's a coaching issue. That's where I'm like, okay. And we've seen the same thing over and over again. We need actual bigger consequences other than we're letting go of Peter Patton because he speaks his mind too much. And we don't like that. We don't like that.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. I'm talked myself into, bring Tibbs back. He can turn Giddey into an elite defender. Buzelis will be a top 5 shot blocker in the league. Ayo could be, they need something. Like, my argument for Tibbs isn't just like nostalgia, but he's turned like the Knicks, he turned them into an actual playoff contender. I think they fired him too early.
Yep.
And the Timberwolves, he turned them around too.
Agreed. And that's the messed up part about it, because I'm right there with you when it comes to the discussion of Billy Donovan. Just like yourself, I was one guy that defended Billy Donovan a lot. But it seemed like every time you give Billy Donovan his credit, he tell you to shut the fuck up and smack you. Every time. We started the season off well. I'm like, oh, Billy Donovan, you got these guys actually hooping. You got them doing some stuff. We're going a 7-game losing streak to some bums. Like, so are we really bums? That's how I was looking. I'm like, bro, Billy Donovan, to your point, never has his team prepared. They always, when any this was a problem when Zach LaVine was here. Zach LaVine get hot. Billy Donovan's like, no, I got to stick to my rotations. I don't care if you're hot. Go take a seat. What? These guys are young men. Let them hoop. Same thing with Montes Buzelis. To your point, when I figured out that Billy Donovan told him don't take middies, I was like, what are you doing? It's the same thing that could be said about Patrick Williams. In my personal opinion, there's not many players that have developed well under his tutelage, bro. But my biggest question is, do you think he can lead another iteration of the Chicago Bulls?
No.
Because, bro, like, he had the Zach LaVine and Oni Vooch. Then you had Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, Lonzo Ball. Then you made more changes, and now we're here right now. If we go out there and make these trades and get more players in, you look like you're not the man for the job.
I don't even think he's the source of like everything that's wrong with the team. I don't think firing him and hiring, for the sake of conversation, Tibbs is going to turn this team around completely. But I do think it for one, it will set the tone with the players. Hey, everybody's expendable. Mm-hmm. I remember seeing an interview of Gordon Hayward talking about when his rookie season on the Jazz, when he's like, I'm not going to really do too much. We have Darren Williams here. We have Jerry Sloan. I think it's Sloan for sure. Somebody, high-level coach. I don't want to just misquote. Mm-hmm. But that same week, Williams was traded and the coach was fired. And just completely just changed the landscape of the team. And maybe that's what these guys need. I don't have, if their scheme is just no middies, which is, I agree, still stupid. Why am I seeing Kevin Huerter and Patrick Williams take these mid-range shots? What is going on? I've seen them at the top of the key, at the free throw line, shoot them. I'm like, oh, why is Buzelis, you'll get benched when these guys are doing the same thing? It doesn't make sense to me.
Agree. And and that's how I feel like with Billy Donovan. You see mistakes with the in-game adjustments. You see so many mistakes. You see mistake after mistake, and it's the same thing over and over again. I'm not confident in him as a coach moving forward for the Chicago Bulls. I think there's a lot of things that need to change. And I agree with you. It's not just at the head coach's spot, but it's definitely looking into the front office. What's your temperature on the front office, like wholeheartedly, at least after? Because we in hindsight, the Lonzo for Okoro, do we want to count it a win? I just give them brownie points for it. I count it as a win. Mm-hmm. Then you go out there and just for the sake of discussion, to keep it short, you make a trade like you just made a couple days ago. Is that starting to gain some trust? Are you gaining more trust back in him, or are you just like, nah, I got to wait till after the deadline?
I have to wait till after the deadline. There's just too many bad moves.
Yeah.
Like, I will say the Giddey contract is a win.
Okay.
I don't even want to get into the trade because I think that was probably one of the most controversial things ever. And I'm just sick of talking about it. But I don't understand. He's just very difficult to understand what's going on. Mm-hmm. And then his press conferences just make him unlikable.
Facts.
I don't know if it's a language barrier or there's times he just straight up gives these reporters an attitude. And I'm like, I can't rock with that. You sound very entitled and smug, as if your team's doing something. When Billy Donovan says you are who your record is, and your record's horrible.
I agree.
It doesn't make sense when AK goes ahead and says, well, we had this good stretch in the middle of February or in March. We're going to build upon that. That's promising. Ignore everything else. That doesn't scream intelligent to me. Man. And you're not on top of that. I got a lot of I want to know what you think, Bobby. I made a take on Twitter. A lot of people weren't happy with when I said the Bulls don't play modern basketball. They're always an era behind.
Whew. They could be a bit slow to the party, bro. It took them forever to even start increasing their 3-point totals. I think that they're trying to get there, but I also think that there's a disconnect between head coach and front office. And one of the reasons why is because why send Billy Donovan home prior to the draft to evaluate Derek Queen? He evaluates Derek Queen, and you go draft Noah Essengay. So I think there's some type of disconnect because off season after off season, Billy Donovan goes in and talk about the need for a big man, the need for being better and getting more talent in the room. And yet, AK, he doesn't do anything that makes sense. So I think there's some type of disconnect. And when you called him entitled, I think that kind of fits the mold of AK right now. And we just discovered that Mark Eversley is still alive. I'm not even joking. He was missing like a few years ago. We had Bulls Fest. We seen him now talking to the media, and he went missing until the draft of early of 2020.
You know when Casey Johnson does these little sit-down interviews, talks to AK about his life for the billionth time about how he came up in Lithuania?
Yeah.
I need to have that, but the day-to-day job of both of them, what do they do every single day? What are they doing? I have to know what goes into this job because you're slow to make moves. You don't make these adjustments. What are you doing? What does your evaluation process look like? Because there's something I'm not getting. There's something we're not getting that they do. Because it just seems like nothing. Just okay, we made this small move and that's it. Last trade deadline, we could have traded Vooch to the Warriors for 2 expirings and 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And you just didn't want to do it for whatever reason.
Do it, and now you just did a move for Sark like that. Similarly. Oh my God.
I'm surprised he waived, like he was willing to let go of Javon Carter after that performance.
Yeah, I was a little surprised. But to your point, it's like, so I think he tries to outsmart himself. It's like, dude, when they took Dalen Terry and Walker Kessler was there, and they called Dalen Terry, I said, who? Who is this? Pulled out my phone. I said, who? Sometimes it's okay to make the obvious move, right?
Yes.
Because Walker Kessler was there. And you have 3 players that are basically the same. P. Will, Dalen Terry, and Julian Phillips. They're basically the same.
Don't you forgot one more. Noah Essengay.
Basically the same.
Like, I hate to say it. I wanted Carter Bryant from Arizona. He's on the Spurs now just because, okay, good wing to 3 and D. He could do a little bit more, even though he's one of the players who could easily fall into that template we just said named.
Agreed.
But, like, come on, you want to compete now, but then you want to get these project players. For what?
Exactly. You don't take the obvious choice, which was Derek Queen.
I think all of them could have developed into a solid rotational piece in the NBA if they weren't drafted by the Bulls.
Oh, that's tough. Or under the tutelage of Billy Donovan. We pulling him back into this too.
Because the only reason why he played Ayo was because there was nobody left. Everybody's out. And Lonzo's leg was falling off. Caruso, he got punched in the face by Grayson Allen. You had no other options.
Was hurt.
Oh God. He was also just ass. He was also just bad at basketball at that point.
That's a fact, bro.
He had to deal with PTSD from Derrick Rose every time he saw all the Bulls memorabilia.
Yeah, man. It's just crazy work, man. But hey, we always want what's best for the team, man. But I ain't gonna hold you too much longer, brother. Hell of a conversation today, man. Anything else that you want to talk about before we get up out of here? We close up.
In order for the Bulls to get Giannis, they have to trade everything. When I mean everything. You might be able to keep Ayo and Coby, believe it or not. But
you got to trade everything.
Everything. And be stuck with P. Will, but that's about it.
Yeah. I got one last question. What would you think about a trade of Coby White for Rob Dillingham, Terrence Shannon Jr. in a 2nd round pick?
I hate it. I hate it. I need Joan J. I'm a Illini, but I'm not that high on Terrence Shannon Jr. He's older than Coby White.
Mm-hmm.
So Rob Dillingham needs some development, which it doesn't go well here. And I would want Joan J back. I need the center. I need a big man.
Understood. Well, hey, man. Alejandro, let the people know where they can find you at, man.
I'm local Bulls fan on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. You can find me Alejandro Dorado. Oh my gosh, I spelled my name wrong. That's hilarious.
We got you though.
I'm R instead of an E on Tap Sportsnet. You can find me Bulls on Tap, the Twitter page. Be there, message me, read my articles, let me know how you feel.
For sure. Well, I appreciate you for tuning in, man. Alejandro, it's always a pleasure, man. But hey, that is it from us today, y'all. Before y'all get up out of here, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell as well, man. We appreciate y'all. Make sure you always see red, and y'all already know. We're going to catch y'all on the next one for sure. Peace.
Cognac.